7th regular meeting of the Board of Education. This meeting is called to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Steve Bowdy, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to begin with the introduction.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is my pleasure. We have 3 new administrators to introduce this evening. And I can only say that this has been an unbelievably busy hiring cycle for us. The last 2 months have been a whirlwind, combination of some internal movement, some late resignations and retirements, and always good to both promote internally and bring in some new folks and experience to add to the depth of what we do here in Lapeer. So I'm going to start at our high school. You're familiar with the restructuring plan we put together in the late spring and shared with the board, whereby Mr. Spilsky is going over to manage the CFI campus in a new modified role as our CFI Director of Innovation. And that left a vacancy at the high school, and we repurposed the positions there. We went away from the co-principal model and more towards the traditional single principal to associate principal model. And those 2 associate principal vacancies have been filled by, number 1, Mr. Kevin Wenzel. Kevin, if you could stand up, introduce you. You may sit back down if you want. Kevin, as many of you know, attended Lapeer West class of 2005. Now, let me tell you how hard it is when you're interviewing these people and you say a year like 04, 05, 06, and they say, oh yeah, that's the year I graduated from high school. And they're going to be an associate principal now. It ages you a little bit, right? But hey, that young blood in there. Lapeer West, class of 05, graduated from the Harvard of the Midwest, Elma College, class of 2009. Received his master's degree from Marygrove in curriculum and instruction. Been a teacher in the district since 2010. Taught at West, Zemmer, and Lapeer High School. Obviously, many of you also know Kevin has been an active coach in our football program for a number of years. Going to be a great addition to the high school administrative team and our K-12 leadership group overall. Kevin currently resides in Metamora with his wife, Kayla, of 5 years, who is also a proud Elma College graduate. Man, that's the smartest household in Lapeer for obvious reasons. Welcome, Kevin. Congratulations. Sitting to Kevin's left, Megan Parks. Megan, if you could stand up, please. Megan graduated in 2004 from Hill McCloy High School in Montrose, Michigan. From there, she spent time in Saginaw Valley, Mott Community College, and U of M Flint. Go Blue. Graduated in December 2011 with her Bachelor of Science from U of M Flint with a biology education major and a speech education minor. She then started working for Bendel Public Schools in 2012, went back to OU to get her integrated science endorsement. In 2014, she went back to school for a master's degree in public admin with an educational focus and graduated once again from the University of Michigan Flint. She's been in school a lot. Right? She's married. Her husband, Jeremy, supervisor for GM. They were married in 2014, moved to Davison, Michigan. Now have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. So welcome to the team, Megan. Glad to have you. And last but not least, with Wyatt Stevens' promotion from the Associate Principal Athletic Director role at Roland Warner to the principalship, we had a vacant AP/AD job at Roland Warner, and that will be filled by Mr. Rich Cross. Rich, if you can stand up. Born and raised in Madison Heights, Michigan, later transplanted to Mayville just before 10th grade, earned a bachelor's in secondary ed and master's in ed leadership degrees from Saginaw Valley State University. This is Rich's 13th year in education. He began his career teaching social studies and Spanish at Madison High School for 5 years. He then spent 5 years as the Dean of Students at Imlay City High from 2012 to 2017, before serving last year at K-PAC High School as the AP/AD in that building for the past 2 years. In addition to teaching and being an administrator, he's been a football coach for the past 15 years, serving as a varsity assistant, defensive coordinator at Mayville, Madison, Imlay, North Branch, Lapeer, and K-PAC schools and around. Rich is excited to join our team, and we're excited to have him, so welcome to the team, Rich.
Thank you.
So there is more to come. We are making decisions even as recently as this afternoon about some folks who have been moved to new posts. We'll be communicating that with the board, the K-12 team, and all staff in the next 48 hours. So lots of hiring to do, and I can't wait until our first meeting where you get to meet all the new teachers, because there's going to be a lot of them here. Yeah, good stuff. Thank you.
Great, thank you, welcome. All right, next on agenda is public comment. I see no public comment cards, so we'll move on to action items. First, we have the consent grouping, which there is only one item, which is the approval of the minutes of the July 16th organizational meeting. Any motion?
Move that, pardon. I move that the reading of the minutes be waived and the consent agenda items be approved as presented.
I'll support.
Mrs. Peabody?
Yes.
Mrs. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam?
Aye.
Mr. Aguirre?
Aye.
Mrs. Becker?
Aye.
Keller says aye, motion carries. Next is the fall election. This is the resolution that's required to be approved by the Board of Education before submitting to the clerk's office and having the electorate of the school district special school election to be held on November 5th. We'll read that resolution. Whereas the school district is contemplating undertaking various capital improvements to facilities within the school district, which include the construction of a new high school building, renovations to convert the current high school building to a lower elementary school building, and a current middle school building to an intermediate school building, acquisition and installation of instructional technology equipment and technology infrastructure, preparation, development, and improvements to sites at school buildings, playgrounds, and other facilities, including parking lot improvements and the purchase of school buses collectively as a project. Whereas the school district is of the opinion that in order to finance the project, a bonding proposition should be submitted to the electors at a special school election. Whereas the school district is a Michigan General Powers school district operating under the revised school code as amended, and as such, the school district's elections are governed by the Michigan Election Law Act 116, Public Acts of Michigan, 1954, as amended. Michigan election law. Whereas the school district desires to submit a bonding proposition to the electors at a special election to be held on November 5th, 2019, which election will be conducted by the school district's election coordinator. Whereas Michigan election law requires that the school district certify the ballot language for any proposals to be submitted for voter approval at an allowable election date to the school district's election coordinator no later than 4 p.m. on the 12th Tuesday before the election date. Whereas the school district desires to approve and certify the above referenced bonding proposition and to authorize the superintendent or his designee to submit the certified bonding proposition to the school district's election coordinator. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Lapeer Community Schools, County of Lapeer, Michigan, that 1, the school improvement bond proposition attached hereto as Exhibit A is hereby approved and certified and shall be submitted to the electors at the school district special school election to be held on November 5th, 2019. 2, the superintendent or his designee are authorized to submit the above referenced proposition to the school district's election coordinator on or before 4 p.m. on August 13th, 2019, which is not later than the 12th Tuesday before the school district's special school election to be held on November 5th, 2019. 3, the superintendent or his designee is further authorized to take any and all action required under Michigan election law with regard to the school district's special school election to be held on November 5th, 2019. 4, all resolutions and parts of resolutions insofar as they conflict with the provisions of this resolution are hereby rescinded. That is the language of this resolution.
I will make a
motion that the resolution approving board proposition to be voted on in a special school election be approved as presented.
Supported.
Moved and supported. Is there any questions or discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Mrs. Becker?
Aye.
Mr. Hagadone?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam?
Aye.
Mrs. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Peabody?
No.
Mr. Keller says aye, the motion carries. Takes us to the athletic presentation. Mr. Wonder.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. This time it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Shadskowski, our Director of District Athletics, and he'll give us an annual update on his department.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Wandry. Last year, we came to you guys with an athletic presentation, which we haven't done in a long time. And so with that, we kind of decided that these need to be yearly things. So we're going to come to you tonight with some information of what we've done over the last year with some questions that you guys had, and show you what we're looking at doing over this next coming year. So as we get started, here we go. Like I said, our review, our accomplishments, talk a little about the Booster Club. They were in the paper a lot this year with some of the things they've done. And then the focus of our upcoming school year. So let's talk about our accomplishments. We had a lot of great things happen this year at Lapeer High School. Our football team were the Sacramento Valley champions and district champions, made it to the regional round of the state tournament and had a great season. Coach Smith did a great job with a great group of young men. Our girls bowling team won the Sacramento Valley League championship. You go down to Girl Lights, there's a big trophy down there with our name on it right now. I want to hope is that we get to keep that down there this upcoming year. Our bowling team took second place at regionals, and then they went to the state tournament and took 10. They missed making it to the finals of the state tournament by 10 points. It was remarkable. If you ever get a chance to go to that, it's probably the best event I've ever been to in my entire life. It was intense. The bowling fans are wide and easy, but it is a really cool event down. It took place down in Allen Park area. So a great time. Our coach, Don Heichel, really got the kids working hard. He's done a lot of things at the lower levels to get those kids ready to go. So he's expecting bigger and better things this year. Our boys golf team took the league championship up at Fortress this year in Franklin. They took third place at regionals. Crazy story there. A kid who got DQ'd because he played the wrong ball because his ball went to the water and took another shot and that ball really didn't go in there. And so when they found out that he got DQ'd, they were pretty sad that they were going to make it to the state tournament. But our kids who were the 4 and 5 kids, kind of the kids who scored higher in the team, did really well that day. And they ended up winning by 1 stroke or finishing third by 1 stroke, allowing them to go to the state tournament for 2 years in a row. They went to the state tournament up the Fortress in Franklin. They took 16 on the state tournament. That is, if you ever golfed that golf course, it's probably one of the most difficult golf courses, I think, in the state. Coach Smith would probably tell you the same things. He golfed there a couple of weeks there later, just said, it's legitimate.
What was Coach Smith's score?
75. Shot 75.
That was in the front nine, right?
One thing that we did this year that we worked really hard with Coach Roberts is we reestablished the 9th grade girls basketball program. Something that I was really proud that we did. We didn't have it for a couple of years because we didn't have the numbers. And he was able to get enough support in the middle school programs over the last couple of years to where we didn't have to bring any kid up to JV or varsity level. And we were able to have a freshman team for the first time in 2 years. And our numbers are looking to where that'll be a continuing thing. So we hired a coach, and it's been a great thing. Our girls are going to progress because they're playing at competition. They're level and learning the skills that they need to be able to play at the higher level. We hosted the Battle of the Big House 3. That's always a great time over 3 days down in Michigan. This year, if you hear anything, we are not hosting it this year. Michigan, and with our schedule, how the athletic schedule in the state of Michigan rolled this year, is we rolled a week later. And so our week 1 is the same week Michigan opens up at Michigan Stadium. So they close down the stadium on that Tuesday to get prepared for that game. So we have a great relationship with Michigan. Shelly and her crew who we work with are very positive about what we do and are more than willing to look at us coming back there for the 2021 school year. So as we kind of go through the winter season, we'll meet with them again, start planning for that season or for those games the following school year. And then we hosted a lot of stuff. One of the things I pride our school on is we put in for almost every regional district event that we could possibly host to showcase our schools. We hosted district and regional football. We hosted district girls basketball, and by circumstance, we ended up hosting a quarterfinal game, which was pretty amazing. Didn't have our schools in it, but we got 2 other communities that come to our facility, and we always treat them very well, and it was a great atmosphere that night. We hosted baseball and softball districts. And then we hosted, and some of you guys were there, we hosted the track Saginaw Valley Championship with about 15 teams and over about 500 athletes on a one-day competition at the track. So that's the first time we've really hosted a track like that big. And the compliments that we get in our facility are unbelievable. We're going to start putting in for regional bids for the state tournament, because we can do that now. Our track is phenomenal, our facilities are phenomenal. We have great people that do all the things that need to be done to make that event or make those type of events good at Lapeer. So,
Chad, before you move on, I want to thank Shad and his team, the high school administration. As a former athletic director, just can tell you how difficult it is to host an event with that many schools, that many unknown fans, lots of athletes, lots of logistics to coordinate. But we did say, when we committed to improving our facilities, that a major component and rationale for doing so was to do exactly what Shad is doing, which is hosting events, getting more traffic in Lapeer, getting more families and more students to take a look at our facilities and our programming, to give us a second look and a thought. That's happened. We know that anecdotally that a lot of people that come to these events now see Lapeer as a destination district, but to really want to thank personally Shad, because hosting those events is really above and beyond the normal kind of day-to-day operation of managing your own department, right? It's a lot of work, a lot of coordination. And when it's an MHSA-sponsored event, we don't make a lot of money on it, right? Most of the gate goes to the MHSA. We keep a small percentage of that to cover our costs. So it's not a money-making endeavor for the district necessarily that hosts it, which has never been the case, and that's fine. But the other benefit of that is our athletes, if they are involved in that, and our teams continue to progress in the playoffs, have a home venue, reduces our travel, more of their family can come watch events in our facilities, and we want to keep doing that as much as possible. So kudos to you on that, Shad.
one thing too, and it's not even on every Lapeer High School. If you saw the stadium lights on Saturday night through June and July, the Flint Semi-Pro Football League uses our stadium for their home events. So I think they hosted 5 to 6 games throughout the summer. So it's not even at the high school level. There's semi-pro teams that are now starting to use our facility because it is so beautiful, and it provides a great atmosphere for those people. So I'm going to turn it over to Zach, and he's going to talk a little bit about middle school athletics.
So you're not going to see anything about wins and losses and championships on the middle school slide, because that's not our goal. Our goal at the middle school level is to build the foundation which is going to lead to those championships that you saw on the last slide, by getting kids into programs, having fun, teaching basic skills, getting them into weight training at a young age, and just building that foundation. So with that being said, we did have a number of accomplishments last year that I wanted to highlight for you guys. First off, the hosting, going along with what Chad mentioned, the direction of the high school, the middle school also volunteered to host the 2019 GFMSL Cross Country League meet, which I am very excited about. So if you guys are bored on October 17th and want to come over to CFI, you'll see about 17 schools from the greater Flint area, and I'm guessing around 500 kids running in that event. So I'm really excited about that. Great experience for our kids, and really a good opportunity for Lapeer in general. We also have middle schoolers participating in the weight training program, an opportunity that they have at the high school now, which is not all that common for middle schoolers to have access to that type of programming. And the third bullet point there goes to communication. And this is something that I think is particularly impressive at the middle school level. Every coach last year for the middle school level posted scores to BNN, which means every grandparent, parent, aunt, and uncle can go on to LapeerLightning.com and get middle school event scores from the night before. It's not common for middle school level to have that type of publication of scores. And going even further, most of our coaches actually put highlights of the games, so kids' names are there, who's scoring points, who made a great catch, and they're purposefully getting as many names as possible so that all the kids are recognized. And what that allows us to do at middle school, Wilma Warner and Center both, every morning I get to school, and the first thing I do is look at those BMN highlights, and I get those things on the announcements. Because the kids get recognized, their friends congratulate them, and not only is the excitement for those programs growing, but more kids want to become involved because it's just kids talking about it and great things. Coaches are also increasing communication by using apps to communicate to parents and players. Just something to help our programs go more smoothly and going along with the communication piece and the collaboration piece that Chad's going to get more into on a general level with the district overview. But I just wanted to point out a few middle school things to show you how, put it in perspective, because it's really where it all starts. I mean, the varsity teams win the championships, but the middle school program needs to flourish in order for that to be able to happen. So we're making some great steps here, and I'm excited to be a part of it. Let's go back over to Mr. Skills.
So I want to talk about the Booster Club. They've had a couple articles in the paper, so I appreciate you guys putting a lot of stuff in the paper. As you can see that first bullet, they distribute over $39,000 to high school teams or clubs this last year. That's a phenomenal number. I mean, Christine Cerny, who's the treasurer, always is saying, we love to give money away, come ask us for money, and they've done that. They've done a pretty good job of that. In 2019, there was an article in the paper, since the Booster Clubs had started at the Lapeer High School point, they've given over $100,000 away. So if we're talking over 5 years, they've given a lot of money to programs that need it and help supplement some of the things that I can't provide or we just can't provide for them. So it's things such as warm-up jerseys or basketballs or wrestling mats or cheer mats, whatever it may be. They've done an amazing job of helping those organizations get what they need. Honors Convocation, if you attend Honors Convocation, they give away scholarships. So they're giving away, this last year, they gave away 8 $500 scholarships to kids. Fundraising, all the things that they do. So the concession stand at CFI, through all of the programs that run through there in the fall. So all the Sharks, Junior Lightning, band, flag football, middle school football, they run the concession stands. And how they do that is they kind of, for at the high school level, they have a lottery system where teams put in and they draw, and teams get an opportunity to go in there and work, and then they get a percentage of that money to go into their programs. But they have the craft show in December, they have donations. They created a school store, Spiritware. So if you go to those events, they always have merchandise that you can buy there. They always have hand warmers and hats as we get to the winter part of the football season. And then last year, they had the travel raffle. We publicized that a lot. That was where you bought a ticket for $100, you had an opportunity to possibly win a trip, one of the 10 trips that they were offering. Future projects is they are doing the travel raffle again. So if you need tickets, I am your guy. Their theme this year is Take Me to Europe. So their 3 top prizes are 5-day for 2 people, airfare included, to London, Paris, or Ireland. So they went through a local vendor here in the community, and they gave a great deal. So those are the 3 big ones. Then there's a bunch of other ones. There's Vegas, there's New Orleans. I don't know when that one is for 100. So.
Buy your ticket from Shad. I won the New Orleans trip. We're going in November, so I'm definitely buying my European vacation reservation ticket.
So when we have our parent night at the high school for the meet team night, August 19th, the Booster Club will be there. They'll be selling raffle tickets there, and they're going to have their drawing when we do the winter parent meeting in November. So there's a few months there to buy that ticket. They're selling 300 of them. It does a lot of wonder for our kids. They can hope to raise about $15,000 just in that one fundraiser. And then their goal is to raise money to help renovate the concession stand. The concession stand at the CFI needs to be kind of remodeled and reconfigured for them for what they're doing. So they're working, that's what they're working for and working towards over the next year. So our Booster Club's amazing. The ladies who run our Booster Club are phenomenal. I'm very blessed that we have them there. They care a lot about Lapeer athletics. So the focus for 19 and 20 is to continue transition of the overall program and individual team focus from week to week. We all know that we grew up in a time when coaches just focused on their individual program, whether it was football, whether it was basketball, whether it was cheer, whatever. We got to get away from that. I mean, we are past the days where we can only focus on that when there's so many other things going on. Our coaches have taken steps, as you'll see over this last year, in taking the whole Lapeer athletics view instead of just worrying about their individual team and individual sport. We've spent a lot of time with our coaches, with our players, with, as we'll talk about communication, we'll talk about participation stuff here shortly, but we've spent a lot of time trying to get that across, and we are making steps towards that need to we mentality. We're also going to talk a little bit about our increase in communication and what we need to do to become better at that too. So, looking at the transition from week to week. At the administrative level, last year we came to you with some different things that we wanted to talk about, both at the administrative, at the coaching, and the athlete level. So at the administrative level, what did we do this last year? Zach and Wyatt and I met with district administration. Usually it was with Kim. Mr. Wander would be there every now and then. But we would talk about some of the things that we had going on. We would talk about kind of in a PLC format, what are the things that we're seeing that are happening at the high school. We have, or at the middle school, there's a lot of things that go on. As Mr. Wander said, that doesn't necessarily, it's not day-to-day stuff, but it's, things of, how are we communicating information out to parents? What coaches have keys to what facilities? I mean, there's a lot of different little nuances that we talk a lot about. When we met on a regular basis, we met about once a month down here just to talk about those things and how we can get better at those things and what are some of the things that we're doing to improve, the communication from what we're doing in the building to what's going on. So when people in the community come and, call Mr. Laundry and ask him what's going on, he has an idea, or call Kim, she has an idea of what's going on. As an athletic director group, Zach, White, and I, we would meet occasionally to talk about some of those things before we got down to town to talk about the meetings. We also believe it's really important for us to be a part of the MIAA, which is the group that we are a part of that oversees all of kind of the athletic records. Are kind of our big group that's the Michigan Interscholastic Athletic Administration Association. So they hold a big conference where they bring in guest speakers. And it's kind of our PD for us to become better at what we do. A lot of great ideas from a lot of EDs throughout the state. That's one thing I think this organization does a very good job at, is they bring in people that have done the job here. And it's, similar communities, and we take ideas from what they've done. One of the things that we've done at the high school is when we hand out information to coaches, we've now put it in a 3-ring binder, and it's broken up to where they can navigate through that kind of stuff, so they know, if they need to fill out facility use forms, there's 15 of them in there for them. So just trying to make it easier for them. Has all of our handbooks, keyed index stuff. I mean, it's pretty amazing some of the things that we've learned at that and then implemented here within the building. If you have kids, you'll see that they get bracelets now when they go to tryouts. So it takes getting the paperwork out of the coach's hand, taking care of it in our offices, so all they have to show up is with a bracelet on their hand, and they're ready to practice, and the coaches know that. Some of the next steps that we have. We got to define the roles of our 6-12 athletic administrators. Okay, so we have Rich, that's brand new to our district. Zach's been here for a year. And then Mike, we hired him in a capacity that's a building athletic coordinator manager position too. And so as we progress through this next year, we're going to define what those roles are for everybody. When we talk about 6-12 programming, everybody has to be on the same page, and we're all taking a fair share of what the work is that is done. Because it is a big job. There's a lot of things going on at the middle school level. There's a lot of things going on at the high school level. And we all need to have an active part in what that looks like going forward. So this year, we're going to help define, we're going to start to define what that looks like. And so when we come back to you next August, our goal is to kind of give you an idea of what we're doing and who's doing what.
So are you going to create job descriptions for those roles?
We have job descriptions, but we're going to kind of define more with adding Mike in and adding new people in, what kind of fine tune who's going to be doing what. At the coaching level, so the progress made this year. We met with individual teams last year. So I'll use football because Mike's here right now. We brought the 7th and 8th grade coaching staff together with the high school staff for our preseason meeting. So it was one group, so they're on the same page. So there's some continuity and some unity from hearing Mike's voice as the face of Lapeer High School football and Lapeer football in the school district, all the way down to the 7th and 8th graders. Okay? And so that they would understand, here's the systems and things that he wants them to be doing in the practice. We did that for every program last year. Individual meetings with every staff. So this year we've kind of changed that to where we've met everybody. We just had our meeting the other night. So we've had 6-12 meetings with everybody, and they've had breakout sessions, and then I would go around and meet with each of those staffs. But it would seem very beneficial because those middle school coaches don't necessarily get to see the high school coaches. The high school coaches don't really get to see the middle school coaches during the season. So getting them on the same page to start the season, I think was a great benefit to some of our programs out here, to where we could start to have conversations about what's working and what's not working, and what do we need to do to improve.
And this is a huge support for middle school coaches. I know I coached in the district where I came from 10 years, 7th and 8th grade softball, and not once did I meet with a varsity coach. And you just don't feel supported. You don't feel like you're in the loop. You're not really building a program. And these meetings are really helping to start to bring some continuity to those programs. What are you putting in at each level? What are you running? How are you doing it? And, that's how you build it.
One of the things that we've really focused on in the summer is conversations that I had with head coaches in our final evaluation, were that they need to have summer camp offerings for the youth. You know, our coaches are very good at having camps who go into team camps at Michigan and Saginaw Valley State for their own teams. But I think Kim brought it up to a great point last year. Is Emily City ran a youth camp for one of the sports, and we didn't have one here in Lapeer. So a lot of our kids were going to Emily City. Why is it happening? We're not doing it. So as you can see, basketball, both boys and girls, cross country, football, lacrosse, boys soccer, girls soccer, swim and dive, tennis and volleyball, all offered a youth camp this summer. And the numbers were staggering. I think volleyball had 108 kids at their 3-day camp. Football had 55 kids. Swim and dive had 16 kids, which is awesome. Okay. Tennis met every Wednesday over at the tennis court. Oscar would have anywhere between 8 to 18 kids depending on vacation. So I mean, there was a lot of good things that are going on. We just got to continue to offer that for all of our sports, but also build upon the success that they had this summer. So our next steps, when we talk about our coaching staff, what I've demanded out of our coaches over on Monday is that our coaches are going to meet with the lower level coaches once a month. They're going to meet with the 7th and 8th grade coaches on a Sunday. We'll open up the high school, have a conversation, make sure things are going well. What's not going well? Here's what we're seeing. This kid's having a hard time doing anything about, some of the family history. Some of those things that keep these numbers rising and to keep kids involved in our athletics. Our head coach presence needs to be more in our sub-varsity coach hiring and evaluations. We go through a lot of coaches just in general. It doesn't matter whether you're in Lapeer, whether you're in Davidson, whether you're, at East Grand Rapids. Our turnover in coaches is a lot. Okay, so I want our head coaches to have some input on that stuff. I want them to be there when we're hiring, or have conversations with the ADs at those buildings, say, here's what I'm thinking, do you know of anybody? And then the evaluation piece too. Our head coaches right now evaluate all of our sub-varsity coaches at the high school level. They need to have some weigh in, and if they're talking, having conversations with these coaches, they're going to be able to have a little bit more say when it comes to those evaluations too. And then continue to promote our strength and conditioning program. I think Mr. Warner came to you guys last year saying we're going to offer this strength and conditioning program. So in 1 year, you'll see our numbers here shortly. We have seen some amazing things happen with some of our kids. And we have cross-country kids that are sophomores that are determined because of the strength and conditioning program this summer that they're going to be placing in the state tournament this year because of that. And running sub-16-minute, cross-country meets, which I'd be lucky to get 1 mile under that right now. So,
I'm with you.
yeah. So, but I'll show you the numbers here shortly. Our athletes. So here's our strength and conditioning. So as you look at this chart, you'll see 2 things I want to kind of point out. It says AE1, AE2. So this is our athletic enhancement class. This is our strength and conditioning program that we offer during the school day to our kids. First semester last year, we offered 2 sessions. We had about 75 to 80 kids in those 2 sessions. Okay. Our goal is to obviously continue to promote that. So if they're doing that in the school day, they don't have to come after school. Okay. You can see in second semester, a lot of seniors don't take that class anymore because they're done playing whatever they're going to play. So our number dips down to 35 to 40, somewhere in there. But if you look at that first one, so we're at 75 right here, and you look at how many kids were coming after school. So fall, winter, spring, and summer, these are all of our kids that are coming after school. They're not taking the class. Some of them are taking the class and they're just getting 2 lifts in. But we're looking at over 100 kids that are in our strength and conditioning program the first semester of the school year. That plays a huge benefit to all of our programs for those kids that are in there. You can see in the winter season, we're up to 80 kids. Okay, our spring season, I think we had a lot of buy-in, and we've got to grow and continue to build upon that. We had over 120 kids in our strength and conditioning program. Okay, so every team in the spring season, if their kid was on weightlifting, Mr. Bukata, who runs this for us, had a time spent or picked out for each team for their kids to come to lift from 2:30 until 5:30 at night. It was phenomenal. Then in the summer we had a little bit of a dip, but we always do because kids aren't as motivated in the summer or they have family vacations, but we were right around 90. There were days there'd be 110 in there through the 3 different sessions. So we offered 3 sessions. One was a kind of a beginner session. We had an advanced session, and then we had one kind of for our kids who couldn't make it to either one of those, and we kind of had a girls session so that they felt comfortable that they could go in there and do the same thing. It was pretty exciting. I think the first week I walked in there, there were 45 girls in that first session, or that third session, which has never happened before. So we're getting there after the first year. It's phenomenal. So at the athlete level, some other progress that we had. So these are our numbers for our camps. You can kind of see from basketball all the way to volleyball. We are ranging from 40 down to 20, all the way up to over 100, depending on the program. So continue to build upon those things. Football had the 55, we had lacrosse, a free camp for lacrosse, where for 3 days, kids could come in, they got a free lacrosse stick at the end of the week. I mean, so we're doing the right things, we just gotta continue to promote it. Yeah, volleyball had a lot. And they had little kids everywhere. It was,
I love it.
It's a dangerous time to be in the gym.
oh, man, right? So what are our next steps? Obviously, our next steps are to increase participation in our strength and conditioning program. We all know that if we work out, just in general, we become healthier as people. Mike Ducati does a great job. It's not only about strength and conditioning, it's about being on time. It's about doing things right. It's about putting things back the way you found them. I mean, there's a lot of other skills that he's teaching within that our kids are going to be able to use when they leave Lapeer High School. Increase our participation in summer camp opportunities. We had a great start, 10 camps this summer. Our goal is to make sure that every sport that we have is having some type of camp. And then increase in overall athletic participation, including multi-sport participation. You're going to see here shortly what our participation numbers are as we've gone through the last 2 years. But to increase our multi-sport athlete participation, I think the stat that was mind-boggling to me last year, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think Mike might know this, or Mr. Walker might know this, of the 32 first-round NFL draft picks that were picked last year in the 2018 draft, 30 of them were multi-sport athletes in high school. 30. We cannot settle for kids specializing in this particular sport. There's data upon data that says that is not good for a kid. And you'll see some of the things, our participation for multi-sport athletes is pretty good, but we can always do better. So our other goal that we're talking about is increasing communication. Some of the progress that we have. Okay, working on a district calendar. With Mark's greater help, we have implemented school due to the high school. So there's a centralized location where all of our stuff goes into a calendar. It shows up in the district webpage. It shows up in our Outlook calendar. And we are just at the very beginning of it. We're trying to figure it out. But Denise and I have been working on it for about the last month. With Mark's help, we've been able to, one, put it onto our Outlook calendar, which was one of our hurdles that we're having issues with, so that we can all see it in one place and not have to go to a lot of different places. But
Is this something that you named, or is this something?
that's the name of the company. It's the name of the company.
Why is it called school dude /
They do a lot of different things. They have a lot of different functions. That's just the name of
Okay.
the company. So that is something that we're implementing at the high school, and as we speak right now, we're entering stuff into that. So if we put it in at the high school, it shows up downtown, and it goes on the same calendar. Right now, we don't, last year we didn't have that. We put stuff on Outlook at the high school, and it goes on Outlook at the east calendar. People downtown, if they were scheduling stuff in one of the scheduled high school, didn't see that. So now we're in the process of being able to put everything in the same place. It goes to transfer, it can go to transportation, it can go to maintenance. So if we had to put custodial fees on it, Mark can go in there and put custodial fees on it, and it has a routing system where everybody takes care of it. So it's something that we are just beginning, but it has begun, and it's a learning curve for a little bit of us, or for some of us, but it's going to be something that's going to be very valuable once we put everything in there, everybody can see everything that's going on in the district. So our next steps. So we got to go from the high school to CFI and implementing it at the 612 level. We know that those buildings need used the most in the district. Whether it's Zimmer, Warner, CFI, or the high school, those buildings are being used not only by our own teams, but the community in general. So now we got to get Zach, we got to get Rich, Wyatt, and Jeff on board on what that looks like and have some training there. And then eventually, the goal is obviously to go to K-12. Okay? For all of our elementary schools to be a part of that too. And then the training of it is a big piece of it. There's a lot to learn. It's different than just putting it on Outlook, but because there's a lot of different pieces of it. The thing that I think everybody has to realize too is you don't need to know every piece of it. So for our secretaries, they just need to know that they need to go in, implement just the stuff that pertains to the building, and all the other stuff gets taken care of. So we have a few things to do, but it is going to be a great tool once we have it up and running and working efficiently. Other pieces, utilizing our K-12 communication system. As Zach talked earlier, lapeerlightning.com is our website that we use for all of our athletic stuff. Okay? If you go to that site, everything gets pushed there. We've really focused on pushing everything there. I met with VMN last week. That's the company that owns our website. We are in the top 15% in the state when it comes to traffic and views for our website. It's because our middle school people are putting stuff on there. Our coaches are putting stuff on there. We're putting stuff on there. But all of our scores, schedules, information, all go there right now. So if you click on athletics on the district webpage, it should take you right to the athletic webpage. You can pull the schedules. You can pull up right now we're going through the clearance process at the high school. The physicals are on there, code of conduct's on there, and the measures and card's on there. And if people want to pay online for their participation fee, they can do that there too. So we're getting it out there. The top 15% is pretty amazing. Okay. Our next steps, we got to continue to funnel all the traffic to that webpage. Anything that's athletic, if anybody asks you what's going on or where is this being held, tell them visit lapeerline.com and they'll be able to navigate the website pretty easy. It is user friendly. Okay. And then our Facebook and Twitter utilization. We know that we live in a digital age where people are using those things. Anything that we put on lapeerlightning.com automatically goes to our Lapeer Athletics Facebook and Twitter page. So it gets out there to, whether it's parents on the Facebook side or kids on the Twitter side, it all goes out there. So it's in a couple different places that are seen very frequently throughout the entire community. Okay. Increased communication, let's see. So last year we talked a little bit about our offerings. As we get into our participation numbers, I just want you to take a look and see what we offer here in our district. So 6th grade, we do allow kids to participate in 6th grade. Okay, they're allowed to do cross-country, track, and wrestling. Kind of an individual sport mentality. 7th and 8th grade, you see more of the bigger things: baseball, basketball, competitive cheer, football, softball, track, volleyball. At the high school, we offer all of that stuff and more. Okay, we offer a lot of different things. Not to count, those are just, if you were to take those as face values, which you see up there, there's multiple levels under each of those programs at the high school level. So, within baseball, there's 3 levels. Within girls basketball, there's 3 levels. So, there's a lot of things that we offer throughout the entire district that allow a lot of kids to have an opportunity to do something that they enjoy. So our participation numbers. As we look at this chart, look on the left-hand side, you see all the graduating years. So we have data right now up to the year of 2025. So that was last year's current 6th graders. Okay, so when they came into school this year, you can see what their total student enrollment was for that class. And you can look at how many, both by male and female athletes, how many kids within that class were participating in sports. Okay? So we look at those numbers and we look at participation rate. Would I like to see those numbers higher? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Especially for the junior and senior, like,
right.
It's kind of disheartening. And I can tell you one experience is, we're a district of choices, but sometimes the coaches don't like those choices. So dual enrollment is a problem. And so I'd like to see some of that maybe discussed with them, just to make sure that, I know it's difficult, I get it with the meets and everything, but can practice start at 3 instead of 2:30 or whatever, so that they can meet their obligations for college. So just one take I have, like I said.
Absolutely.
And I know you guys do a great job, but I really believe that's some of your numbers.
Yeah.
It may not be possible in every sport.
Right, absolutely. We can speculate what all the different things are. I mean, our kids, like you said, school of choice, we're
Jobs.
it's
One of the things that was great about football, I'm like, we always had practice at 4 o'clock or whatever.
Right.
I mean, they could complete what they needed to
Right.
and then go to practice.
Right.
So, it worked. I mean,
So,
yeah.
and you can see, obviously, as they get older, the participation goes down a little bit, and
Their
that's
focus
a national trend. That's not
Oh,
just a
absolutely.
trend.
Their focus changes.
Right. And so, you can see, I think one of the big jumps that I just want to make point of is this is where I think we really got to capture kids. Is you look at that 6th grade class going to 7th grade class. If you go back a page, you saw there was only 3 offerings in 6th grade. They go to 7th grade, and there's a lot of offerings. So you look at that participation almost being at 50%. How do we capture that and continue to move that forward? That's where, as Zach said, it's building those things that makes them want to be a part of that environment, be a part of that team, or be around their peers.
One of the things I think would be cool too, just is having some of the alumni that are in college come back and speak to those high school kids. Because I think sometimes they don't take it seriously. They want to play college hustle, they have all this wonderful thing. They don't really realize the seriousness of it in academics and in sport.
One thing we did this year that some of our teams did is we would send them down to the middle school and they're handing out their flyers for their youth camps. And we sent some high school kids down there in some jerseys. And I think nothing is better than for a little kid to see a Carson Curry, in a jersey at the middle school. Or to see a Carson Butterfield in a basketball jersey at the middle school. These kids come and see them play at games, or they tell the parents they're coming to watch them. If we all gone football games, they're not necessarily watching the game. They're running around chasing each other. But
There's no not necessarily. They are not watching.
Or, you know, when you have the
You
seniors.
guys will understand here in a couple of weeks.
You're going to become fastly acquainted with their middle school population Friday night.
You have the seniors go back to the elementary schools when they graduate, maybe some of the, like last year when the football team did well, they go to the younger schools as a team and, you know, the kids.
Yeah, I
maybe
just
like
think the
move
college,
up
you
and-
know, you got 7 you signed for football in 2015, right? You had those 7 are pretty much graduating or on, you know. They came back, a couple of them, and just spoke to your
Right.
fall football class in spring or something. It doesn't have to be that, you know, just said, listen, this is what we experienced, guys, you know? Might mean a lot more than what the coach said.
You know, and outside with the graduating class that we just had this year, we sent a lot of kids away to college to play athletics.
That's what I'm saying.
And so we gotta draw on them, because they'll come back and see us
Right.
in May when they're done.
Right,
But I
and they
agree
go,
with you.
oh man, that was totally different, you
For them to
know?
come back and talk to those teams, I think that's something
I just
that,
think it'd be
I'll
cool.
take note of, and we'll try to.
Just an idea, like I said.
Well,
Yeah.
one of your bowlers is looking at colleges that she can get
Yeah.
a bowling
Yeah,
scholarship.
yes, think about it, come back and talk to those, but they don't think, I can't bowl a guy. Yes, you can.
Right. Last year, I think it was one of you two, Jan or Lisa, that talked about our scholar athletes. You wanted to see the data on our scholar athletes. Okay? So here's our, for the last 2 years, here is our scholar athletes. So we have 2 different scholar athlete presentations that we give to our kids. So we have the Lapeer High School one. So our criteria for that is they have to have a GPA of a 3.5 or higher and finish the season in good standing. So as we look at the data, we can see that, you know, kids, just like our participation number, our kids go down in the sense of there's not as many kids participating. But we have a lot of kids in our programs that are doing pretty amazing things. 3.5 or higher. I mean, as you guys have gone to the honors thing or gone to graduation, I mean, there's kids with 4.4 GPAs that are rocking it. Okay? Now, would we like those numbers to be better? Absolutely, we always do. But this is because of the question you guys brought up, some of the data that's on the data.
I think this data would be cool to show to the 6th graders.
Right.
To say, listen, this is what you can do,
Right.
and you're gonna be better because you are.
So this is the high school version. The Saginaw Valley at the high school level gives out one too. So their criteria is a little bit different. So you have to have a 3.3 or higher. And you have to be on your second year of the same sport, one of those years being varsity. So if your kid played freshman basketball and played JV and didn't make the varsity, they're not going to be a Saginaw Valley scholar until they get to that varsity level. But you can see, I mean, we have a lot of kids that do pretty amazing things. Our coaches are great about getting our kids nominated for all state academic nominations. Teams we've had, I think our golf team finished in the top 10 in the state this year for academic with their GPA. So we have a lot of amazing things going on. It's obviously difficult to play a varsity sport, to keep your academics up, to do dual enrollment. I mean, there's a lot of things going on, so our kids are working really hard to get to that point. Then our participation, so multi-sport athletes. Okay, so as we looked at the data a little while ago, this is broken down for the males. You can see the class of 2019, the class that just graduated, 37.5% of the kids of that senior class that played the sport, 37% of them were multi-sport athletes. Okay, you can all look all the way down to the freshman group, which is now the sophomore group. Over 50% of those kids are multi-sport athletes. Now that's a good and a bad thing, because we're pulling the same kids to do this, to play all these sports, so we got to get the number up. But we have a lot of kids that are involved and have invested their time and effort into Lapeer athletics. You know, we fight the battle at AAU and club and all that stuff. We have multi-sport athletes. We have kids that are focused on educational athletics here at Lapeer High School. So this goes all the way down. We had a multi-sport athlete in the 6th grade level this year, one kid.
Wow.
So, I mean, kid has priority sets right. And then here's our females. Okay, so you know their numbers aren't much different. You know, they have that 30. You know, I would say average in the 30s somewhere. But we have a lot of young ladies who are playing multiple sports. So that kind of goes back to one of our goals was increasing participation, increasing our multi-sport athlete participation. It gives you at least some data points of where we're at right now and what these classes that are coming up are bringing to the table. With that,
Could you give us an update on the Hockey Alliance program and
Yeah.
what's going on?
yeah,
with that?
absolutely. So I am waiting on Lakeville. They had their board meeting last night. They were going to have any issue with it, but I was waiting on their documentation to approve it. I talked to the MHSA last week, I've been talking about that throughout the entire summer. let them know, hey, all these different pieces of paper are coming in, but I wanted to collect them all because one of you guys have to sign on everybody's document. Secretaries from other schools are sending stuff, and I'm like, no, just send it all to me, we'll get a sign. But we are going to continue to go forward with what we're doing. So there will be Lapeer, North Branch, Almont, and Lakeville will come together as a conglomerate team. We are the host school, so it won't be any different for how we run hockey. Steve Sears, who's our hockey coach, will be the hockey coach for that program. We're going to play at the Crystal Fieldhouse over in the Burton area. We're working on our schedule right now. I'm sure Steve probably has just a few games left to finish schedule for the entire year. So hockey is going to continue. It's just going to be a mixture of the
Do
four
you know what
different
the
communities.
participation numbers are gonna be?
Looking at from what I've got back from some of the schools and what we're at, I would suspect we'll be somewhere in that range between 14 and 20. Somewhere there. That's my hope. I think North Branch has 5 or 6 kids. Almont has a couple kids. Lakeville has a couple kids, and then we're anywhere between 7 to 10 kids. So I'm looking between 14 to 20. I can't give you an exact number, but we have. They start their season. I think their first day of practice is the 29th of October. So I will have a better know of what the numbers are going to be. We're going to hold a meeting once we get it approved from the MHSAA, which won't be an issue. We're going to hold a meeting with all the different communities together and kind of see really what that number looks like, and then we'll have a better idea of what it looks like with the board.
Nice job, Sharon.
Yes. I mean, I really, really appreciate you sharing this, because I have to say, the kids that are the class of 2022, when they enter 7th grade sports, I can say for sure this was not visible. And we really needed huge improvement from there. And I mean, I can see the things that you're moving towards are great things that our athletics really need, for sure. I mean, especially the points that I heard that I liked really the most was the interaction of the coaches between all the levels from 6 to 12. I mean, that's really critical. In order to build your program like you want to, and we say we want to, we need to have that as a program, not a disconnect between, or individual coaches doing what they want to do,
Right.
instead of what the vision of our athletics is.
And that's-
So, I mean, I really like that. The other piece that I really like is just, hearing about your avenues of the communication, the way that you, are wanting to engage and build the participation with the students. I mean, lots of those things I really appreciate hearing today.
And another concern that I heard is band in sports. Some families feel they have to make a choice, so that is affecting the numbers, and I don't know if that's something that, something like that in sports can come together and work it out, but
I can
I've
tell
heard
you,
that.
we've had a couple kids through the grants process over the last few days who were playing sports but also doing band too.
Good.
I'm going to tell you, I guess, I totally hear that comment, but I also think band is a part of the athletic program. I
But-
really believe that, but I know that
But if you
kids
have
are
a
having to
girl-
choose, pick and choose,
If
absolutely.
you have a girl that wants to play volleyball, she doesn't, and she's in band, she's got a conflict there.
Right.
And years ago, when my kids were students at Lapeer East, they could do both.
Yeah. They still can.
They could play
They
their
still
sport
can.
and
We gotta-
play their band.
we
So
gotta communicate
I don't know
about
if we need
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
work on building,
Yeah.
a bridge together, the band program and the sports.
There's a
program.
pretty good, I would say there's a pretty good
Good.
bridge. Dan and I work really closely together. I know he works with Mike. I mean, they, just in the say of the facilities of the football stadium, the band now goes and practices on Mondays there when they're preparing for competition. So we've really bridged that gap a little bit.
But I'm
I hear
talking
what you're saying
A
too.
student
Absolutely.
band wanting to play volleyball.
Absolutely,
So-
absolutely. Yep.
I've seen cheerleaders go out to the field, during, and that's pretty cool.
Have we had a big changeover in coaching?
I'm looking for a varsity golf coach right now, so I'm working on that, yeah, for girls, yeah. We've been looking for a few months. I would say at the high school level, we haven't had too much right now. I mean, obviously with some movement with Kevin leaving, and we've had a couple of coaches leave here or there, but for the most part, at our head coach level, it's stayed pretty consistent across the board, which is great. We've had to hire a few middle school coaches, but which isn't, unusual. But we're always looking, to get good people there to work with our kids.
Girls golf is right now, right?
It'll start next week. So if you know people, please send them back
Right there's your guy, right there. Yeah.
in. We're working
Wait a
on it.
minute, wait a minute. That's a great idea.
I didn't hear a good idea.
That's why the people elected me.
Do you know that girls'
Other
golf
duties as a
is
son.
one of the hardest for colleges to get? You can walk in literally and get a scholarship anywhere just about.
Well, in the last 3 years, we've sent a couple girls to college. I can think of one that's playing at Western right now.
Our pediatric neurologist at U of M, she's the one that decided she's at U of M, and she's like, we can't get golf, girls golf, let's go. Yeah. She said
We've been pretty
that
fortunate
she
the last few
advertised.
years. We've sent a couple girls to go play pretty good.
It's a huge scholarship.
Absolutely. Bowling, like I said, earlier, bowling's one of those other ones too.
Yeah.
Other questions?
Thank you, very good.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
very much.
It takes us to board member communications. Are there any communications tonight for the board?
Just one, staying with the theme of athletics. Monday starts football practice. Very excited to have a chance to go from the summer camp. Should be another exciting season. So best of luck, Coach.
So I keep seeing all the stuff from the other districts on election, like going for their bond, really like getting going.
Well, we can't do anything until we vote it tonight,
Oh,
so
okay.
you'll start seeing it
So we can
tomorrow.
start.
Yeah. Unless you want me to start doing things without your approval. I'm not gonna start doing that.
Just saying.
My sister.
Chad, it was really refreshing to see you're taking the system that was really fragmented, right? You're making that program come together, and I'm just listening to you, and I can just kind of see where this is moving toward. And it can't be anything beneficial for our students. It's really great to see that. And the board does appreciate what you're doing with hockey. You know, this is one of the, it would have been easy for all of these districts to say, there's not enough kids, let's just walk away from it. And you didn't do that. And so even the few numbers that are left there, you know, maybe that program will build you. You know,
That's our hope, absolutely.
appreciate that.
And your passion, we can see it, so keep that up.
I'm not going anywhere. We got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work to do.
That's good. I'd like to congratulate all the newly hired administrators, welcome on board, and the school year will be successful.
Any other comments? Seeing none. Mr. Wander.
Thank you, Mr. Keller. Well, my thanks to the board. This is the final step in moving forward to launch our campaign, which will begin in earnest tomorrow. And the message that I gave to every group that I've spoken with in the last 7 to 8 months, particularly our staff and our board, is that in the development phase of our plan, we invited scrutiny, we invited pushback, and as a result, the original plan that we put out there is vastly different today. But the one thing I asked of our staff in every engagement that we had with them was that you've got about a 6-month window to shape this plan. But once it becomes the Lapeer Community Schools Strategic Plan and Bond Initiative, we ask that you support it moving forward, okay? The same is true of the board, right? The body of the board has spoken, the majority present want this to be our plan moving forward, and as a representative group, this is our plan. So we all have the same level of input, same opportunity. We're all participating in the same community forums, the focus panels, all the feedback sessions, and the majority of people that we have spoken to want this bond to pass that are affiliated with this school district. So are we all in? Are we all in? So I'm urging this body, our staff, parent support, community, and all those that participated to move forward with this plan. I sent an email today inviting some of the many parents and community members who were involved in the focus panel work to kind of form the grassroots component of our campaign. We're going to have a social media outlet committee group. We're going to have a letter writing campaign. We're going to have folks who volunteer to be at district events to disseminate information. And we're going to have a get out the vote group as well, who are calling and reminding people face-to-face and urging others to be supportive. Those are going to be primarily composed of parents and community members, because as you know, it's difficult for a district employee to be a positive proponent of the bond, especially at work. Utilization of materials here at work is strictly prohibited. Now, on their own time, our employees can certainly be advocates for the strategic plan and the bond initiative, but so as not to muddy the waters and not complicate things for our staff. We have plenty of parents and community members who are passionately interested in the passing of this proposal. I spoke with the City Commission on Monday night, had a very, very warm reception from that group. They are looking to, they wanted to wait for the board to officially approve it tonight, but passing a resolution of support. I had some great questions from some of the commissioners. We're moving on to county officials, all the township officials, all the service groups. I'm already setting up another meeting with the Tea Party. The Lapeer Democrats just invited us to speak in September. The Alumni Association will be speaking again at their monthly luncheon. So we are going to be out there. You're going to see a lot of the campaign really start to kick off this week and early next as we gear up for back to school. So I'm excited. I'm just so appreciative of the board's support and commitment during this whole process. And I have to just tell you, as being a person who's out there interacting with our community on an almost daily basis, it's great feedback. It's really good feedback. It's really positive. It's great questions. And the pushback that we've got in the last 6 months has really helped sharpen the spirit and make this a better plan. And so we have a lot of answers for most questions that are posed to us about, well, what if it doesn't pass? What are the real key parts of this? Talk about the cost. One of the key talking points that really blows people away, and it's on our key takeaway document that everyone will start to be receiving, is that our current debt that our district levies is the lowest in the county. This district does not carry that much debt, especially compared to significantly smaller school districts. We're levying 2.75 mils to pay our current debt. We've got districts north of 8 mils in our county. Even with the 1.94 mil increase that we're proposing, we'll still be the second lowest in Lapeer County in what we levy for debt. That's remarkable. That's remarkable. And for an average family cost of $12 a month to literally change the face of our district is a remarkable, remarkable thing. So we're excited to share that with the community, get that information out there, and make sure folks have the facts. I want to remind the board about our opening day PD with staff on August 21st. Breakfast is served at 7. We'll kick off welcoming back our staff with my message to our employees at 7:30 a.m. Hope to see many of the board members attend. I know our staff always appreciate when you can make that. And August 21st, yeah.
At 7?
7 o'clock breakfast, and that's at the cafeteria at the high school. And one final note, we welcome back our year-round kids. Things are rocking at Churl and Roland Warner. One of my favorite things to do with Jared is we walk in first day of school, take some pictures, talk to the students, and I make it a point to ask every group of kids, are you excited to be back in school? To which is a tough question to ask a bunch of elementary kids, right? Because we think we know what the answer is going to be. They are absolutely fired up to be back in school. Fired up, excited. I only had one student look at me and say, absolutely not. But, I took a straw poll, and I'm at like 99% happiness, so we can't lose with that. So if those are one of your partner schools, get the opportunity to poke your head into Churl or Roland Warner and just see the great things happening in August. So, good times.
Thank you.
Motion made, motion adjourned.
Support.
Adjourn and support. Mrs. Peabody.
Yes.
Mrs. Novak.
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam.
Aye.
Mrs. Aguilar. Mrs. Becker.
Aye.
Mrs. Aye. We are adjourned.